Hello 474 students. This video is meant to be a brief introduction into the Module 8 and Chapter 8 content related to ethics and marketing. As you can see here in the opening cartoon, it reads, "Why don't we do what we always do when sales lag, right? New and improved on the box." Okay, so we'll be discussing ethical issues related to marketing and how we distribute our products, market it, and so forth. Okay, so essentially what we'll be talking about throughout this module is ethical issues related to all elements of marketing. So, for example, we might talk about ethics in the context of what, how, why, and under what conditions is something produced, what price is something acceptable, reasonable, fair, how can the product be promoted to support, enhance, and maintain sales, where, when, and under what conditions should a product be placed in the market. So essentially the four general categories that I'm sure you've learned about in principles of marketing related to product, price, promotion, and placement, or the 4 P's of marketing. 3 things to keep in mind: we'll be applying our major ethical theories throughout the module content in the chapter. So we might ask, to what degree are participants respected as free and autonomous agents rather than being treated simply as a means to an end? And of course this draws upon the deontological and Kantian perspective. We might ask, to what degree does a transaction provide actual as opposed to merely apparent benefits? So here we're focused on outcomes or consequences when we have a buyer and seller relationship between entity A and entity B. Are there actually beneficial consequences for both sides? We might also ask, are there any externalities that we should consider? So although the buyer and supplier might be happy, we might say, are there any third parties that might be disadvantaged and have negative consequences for receive negative consequences for the exchange? We might also ask, what sort of values are we promoting? So if you remember back to virtue-based ethics, we might say, in our marketing approach, are we supporting values that are consistent with things that are important to us? Okay, so we'll talk about many things related to responsibility of products. We might say that we're focused on trying to target our marketing and promote our marketing in a very appropriate way. So we have to consider what audience we're going to pursue, and then how can we influence that audience to purchase our products. And we can consider the extent to which we're doing this in an ethical manner. Of course, we can influence people in a variety of different ways, and this is not necessarily a bad thing, but we can potentially influence people in inappropriate or unethical ways, which might include deception or outright lies. We might also manipulate people in other various ways, drawing upon psychology, so we have an understanding of people's motivations, interests, desires, beliefs, dispositions, etc. And we might use this information to manipulate people into buying our products. We might, for example, use fear tactics to pressure someone into purchasing our products. Of course, some of the classic examples include using cigarettes, for example, and advertising them for children who are considered to be a vulnerable population. We've also seen ethical issues pop up where people are targeting elderly populations who are also potentially vulnerable and might be easily manipulated using the psychological information that we have. Ultimately, though, we can defend, I think, to some extent, our current marketing approach that we use here in the USA. We might say that most advertisements provide important information to consumers. Market forces do tend to weed out deceptive ads and practices. So, for example, you might have competitors pointing out the deception of one of their rivals. We might also just see consumers who have been misled not go back and give a business services again in the future. Alright, so this video serves to be a brief introduction into the Chapter 8 and Module 8 content that we'll be covering.